Hey, and welcome to another rental car review. Now today I've got a bit of a treat. I'm in Nottingham, England, and this is a vehicle that we do not get in the United States or in Australia. It is the Renault Captur. It is a CUV of sorts. It's actually based on the Nissan Juke, or it shares the platform with the Nissan Juke. It's about the same size, it's about 164 inches long in length. But as you can see, it's got the four doors, which are traditional doors, unlike the Juke. Now, this has been for sale since 2014 by Renault, and it's one of the top selling CUVs over here in Europe. Now, this particular one that we have, it is the diesel. It's a 1.5 litre diesel that has 110 horsepower. And comes with the 5-speed manual transmission. So I've gotten to really like the style. It is quirky, it is the usual kind of odd Renault style, but it has that kind of masculine flair. I mean, it's got the big grille, typical Renault big grille. It's got really nice LED strips right here in the bumper around the fog lights. Big Renault headlights. And it's got the two-tone roof, so it's got this, the whole trend today is the floating roof thing. This actually has a blacked out roof and blacked out pillars, which kind of makes the roof look like it's all glass. Now, right now it's a bit frosty and cold here, but, once it's all melted, it does look like it's one giant sunroof, and it actually looks really cool. It does make the whole roof look like it is floating as well from some angles. I do like the rear as well. It's got kind of a rounded look, but it's got a bit of cladding around it just to make it look a bit tougher. Now, this is not a real off-road vehicle, it's just kind of a poser. But it definitely looks the part. So we'll go inside, we'll have a look around. I'll explain some of the features because they are a bit unique in typical Renault style. Now, first thing that's a bit strange is the key. This is it. So it looks like a floppy disk. I'm going to age myself here, but this does look like a floppy disk, and you've got the button there to unlock it. Now, this also does have the it's a proximity key, so I can just press the button here, and I think it's frozen right now. So much for looking smooth today. So I've got to go the traditional way and just unlock it with the remote keyless. So inside we're going to find this the typical Renault style as well. Nice simple 3-spoke steering wheel right there. Kind of cool two-tone seats. They're actually very comfortable, and the upholstery is pretty durable. And I apologise about the mess too. We've been in this car for a week and through some pretty awful weather and mud, so I apologise about that. Typical door panel, nothing too exciting there, but we'll get in, we'll start it up and have a look around. So it is also, once again, a proximity key. Hopefully my stop-start is not frozen. I just tried it, it's not. But starts just like a normal car there. Perfect. And there is a slot right here for the key. Now, you can keep it in your pocket as well, but at least this is just a handy spot to have it. But it also does look like one of those floppy disk slots from back in the day. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, it's kids, and yeah, you can look it up. The gauges are very unique too. In fact, it kind of reminds me a little bit of the Chevy Sonic, the original Sonic a little bit. You got this digital display right in the middle. It's flanked by the tachometer and a fuel gauge. There is a temperature warning light, which you see on the bottom left there, that blue light in case it's overheating. And you got a center information display there. You cannot change this thermometer to analog or anything like that. It is fully digital, just like the original Sonic. And then you've got a information display right there. Now, one thing, there's a few things we're going to go through that kind of had driven me nuts about this car, and I've gotten used to it. But for anyone who's not initiated with Renault, it's going to be a bit frustrating. But the cruise control, it defaults to all the time. So no matter what, the information display goes back to the cruise control. Got 3 simple displays now. One of the weird quirks is the headlight switch. So usually in right-hand drive markets, the blinker is over there, which frees up your hand with the manual shifter. In this case, they kept it on the left-hand market side. So they got a little bit lazy, they didn't switch it over, and your windscreen wipers are over there to the right. Now they are automatic windscreen wipers, which are kind of a nice treat, especially on a car around this price range. And of course automatic headlights as well, and you do have the fog light switches too. So that's pretty traditional, it's just in reverse to how it usually is in the market. Steering wheel is a nice leather wrap steering wheel. It's got really nice grippy spokes right there. Little grab pads. They're really nice steering wheel to have to feel through. Got a little storage compartment there. Ventilation controls are a little bit obscure. You know, you have to kind of get used to them. I mean, you've got your fan speed and your temperature, that's nothing too out of the ordinary, but then you've got your vent control as far as where you want the air to go, so there's not really any way you can tell where it's going. You kind of have to remember that this is going to be the vent, this button's going to be down by the feet. So that's a little bit obscure, and it takes a little bit of attention off the road. Nothing serious, you do get used to it, but it is a little bit odd at first. The screen itself, there is a USB and auxiliary up to the top, and I'll turn it on here. Now it doesn't have a volume knob, it does have this button, which I'll give it some credit, it's not a button on the screen, so it's a little bit easy, it's easier to use than those. And then you get choices between your radio, which is pretty straightforward. You got a home button right there, your media, which we don't have any right now. You can set up your phone, and I tested it out a little bit and it was pretty easy. Now you got an eco driving score here too, which I've done really miserably with. It's given me a score of 59 to 100, so don't judge me, guys. It's all about your eco driving skills. Obviously I'm not eco driving. Anticipation was good, but my gear shifting's awful. I'm holding onto the gears too long. And it does give me a little bit of coaching now, some shameless product placement right there for fuel. But it actually does give you a few pointers, so it's saying I need to change up my gears a bit sooner, so a bit of pride hurt there. And it gives me a little bit of tips for anticipation. So once again, don't judge me, guys. Nice navigation system as well. It's actually really clear. You can adjust it to the what kind of angle, 3D, 2D, facing north all the way. So really nice. And then the settings, and there's a lot of settings. You can change the voice on the navigation. There was like 26 different languages, and yeah, you can adjust all your sound pretty easily as well. So I will give Renault credit. It is actually a very user-friendly system. You get your 5-speed manual transmission, really good gear shifts. You know, it's actually a really slick transmission. The clutch is just a little bit heavy, but not too bad at all. But one thing that was infuriating with ergonomics is this little switch here is actually your cruise control. As to why your cruise control switch is in the middle of the console between the driver and passenger, I don't know, but it took me forever to try to figure that one out. And what's different too is right on the left one, it's cruise control. On the right, it's a speed limiter. So if I flick it to the speed limiter, you can actually adjust the speed to a certain speed. So if I don't want the car, oops, I've already done it too. So I actually put the speed limiter on, and then I can use these buttons here. And I can make it so that the car can go no more than 26 miles an hour. I can floor it and it will just stop at 26 miles an hour. A little different. And then if I switch it back to cruise control mode, just flick it to the left, then I'm at cruise, and it's just like traditional cruise. You can set it, you can resume, and then the O was cancelled. Took me a bit to figure that one out. Now the other thing is how do I get to the tripometer? To see my fuel, to reset my trip, to see, you know, my range. Could not figure that out. There's no buttons here whatsoever. That actually is a button here on the end of the windshield wiper stalk. Who would have known? And that goes through a series of menus as well. So once I figured that out, it was alright, makes sense, but it wasn't exactly the most logical for someone who's never driven a Renault and just hopped into this car. Alright, overall the plastics are pretty, you know, it's well assembled, it feels pretty solid, but it's just hard plastic everywhere. There's a little soft touch plastic on the door sill where you rest your arm, which is nice, but otherwise it's just hard plastic. There's a deep glove box in typical Nissan form, since there's a shared with the Duke. As I said, seat cloth is actually really nice. It's pretty durable, and there is a ton of leg room here. Alright, so going to the back seat, or open up the back. Back seat's actually a bit more cramped than you think it would be. Now, this is not a very big car. It's about the size of the Duke, which is a little bit bigger than, you know, your standard size subcompact. And if I get in behind myself, my knees are up right against the back seat here. Now, there is a bit of a sculpt back end here, which is nice, gives room for the knees, but it's hard plastic. There is no give here whatsoever. My knees are just right into this here. There are no real amenities. There's a few, there's little cup holders in the doors, but there's no armrest. And actually, too, there is no armrest for the driver either, which is kind of, with all this modern technology, it's a bit of an oversight. And let's have a look here at the back hatch. Decent storage area. There's a little tray that goes underneath here. We'll get that out of there. And then there's actually no spare tyre underneath. There's a little inflator kit in that plastic bag, but no spare tyre kit at all. Now, this is a bit of a weird little feature, is this release. It actually pushes the seats forward. I'm not quite sure why that's there, because I don't see why anyone would want to push the seats forward with anyone in it, and quite frankly, it doesn't seem to help with any cargo utility either. I'm a little stumped by that. So yeah, overall, I mean, it is practical once you get the seats folded. I won't do that right now, but yeah, it's actually not a bad little car once you get used to the quirks. Now, one little other feature I forgot to mention was you do have this nice screen here, and as soon as I shift it into reverse, it has just backup sensors, which are fine, but it looks like it's equipped and ready for a backup camera, and I'm sure on some higher trims it may have that. It's just a little misleading because I think it's got a backup camera. So, and then once again, the engine is a 1.5 litre diesel engine, 4-cylinder, gets about 110 horsepower. We've been averaging, with the European scale, about 57 miles per gallon on this drive. So, very fuel efficient, very good, especially since fuel is not exactly the cheapest. And there we go. So that is the Renault Captur. I hope you enjoyed the video on this kind of unique car. And stay tuned and look forward to seeing you on the next video. Cheers.